Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about the skeleton system of human body. Skeleton is a blooming framework of the human body. It is divided into two types, that is called axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. There are 206 bones in the skeletal system. All are bones attached with the. So there is a comparison between the axial and appendicular skeleton. In the axial, it includes skull, vertebral column, thoracic cage, whereas on the other hand, whereas in case of appendicular skeleton, the remaining 126 bones of the pectoral girdle, pelvic girdle, and the attached limbs. In case of skull, the skull have so many types of the bones which are present in the skull and attach one bone with the another bone along with a sutures. And in the skull, we have a cavity that is called cranial cavity, which protect the brain. As we see in the figure, we have fissure, ramus, and sinus, then foramen. The skull having cranium, dorsal, facial bones. There are special type of cases are there, that is the presence of hyoid bone which is also in the skull, and each bone with the another bone attached with the help of sutures. The sutures are as a lumboidal, sagittal, coronal, and squamosal. So the another part of the skeleton that is called backbone, that is in other words we call a vertebral column. In the vertebral column, the divisions of vertebra are there, like cervical vertebra. These are 7 in number. Secondly, we have thoracic vertebra, 12 in number, and intervertebral disc, and another part that is called lumbar vertebrae. The content or number of these vertebrae are 5, and the other two vertebrae that are called sacrum and coccus. Alternatively, concave and convex curves are there and having a abnormal curvature. Vertebra, that is also known as a backbone of the thing, and along with that there are special type of vertebra having a 7 processes, or in others we call the function of the vertebrae. In that first part we have a atlas and axis. These are showing the special joint, intervertebral disc also present in there. After that we have a thoracic cage, means it's supported by thoracic vertebrae, and in the thoracic cage we have one sternum, 12 pair of the ribs. Further these are two divide, those are called true or false rib, and vertebrosternal and vertebrochondral and vertebral. The cracked rib means the composition of the rib bone which are displaced, fractures unknown. In the appendicular division, we having a girdles, Girdles are available with their associated extremities. First is called pectoral girdle. It includes the clavicle and scapula along with the bones of upper limb. Those are in pair like humerus, ulna, radius, carpal muscle and or carpal bones or hand. The another part we call that is called a pelvic girdle. It includes the lower limb. In lower limb, the bones which are present, those are called femur, patella, tibia, fibula, tarsal bones, and foot. There are 8 carpal bones, means otherwise we called as a wrist, from lateral to medial. The first proximal, then distal. In that, as the diagram show, the radius bone and ulna, those are joined with the wrist joint and along with the platform bone and the hammock bone, which will include in this figure we see the right wrist showing the anterior view of the carpal bones. There are scaphoid, lunate, trichotrum and pisiform, trapezium, trapezoid, capitate and hamate. Now in the hand, the metacarpal, these bones in palm of the hand. Secondly, numbered from lateral to medial, there are 40 phalanges, numbering same as with the metacarpal. Additionally, proximal, middle and distal phalanx. And pollex has only 2 phalanges. Appendicular skeleton, as we see in the figure, that is show the disc bone, or in other words we called as a girdle type. There are 2 made up of 3 fused bones. These are called ilium, ischemia and pubis. Those are when compared with that the male and female pelvis. In other words, we call a true and false pelvis. In the figure, we see the lateral view of a pelvic or pelvis. It having 3 bones as that show ilium, ischemia or pubis, because it will show both posteriorly and anteriorly. Femur. Femur cervical versus the anatomic neck. Patella, large sesamoid bone. Tibia, medial. Fibula, lateral, not weight bearing. The real ankle bones are the malleoli. There another part, these are called tarsal, or in other words we call them as a ankle bones. They from lateral to medial, first proximal, then distal. In that we see the calcaneus, talus, navicular, cuboid, lateral cuneiform, intermediate cuneiform and the medial cuneiform. As we see the picture of foot, that completely showing the earlier part I had told. Along with that, we see having phalanges, after that metatarsal bone, then medial cuneiform bone, next navicular bone, then talus. Now it will show the when medial view, then we see a transverse arc and a longitudinal arc. Naming and numbering of the metatarsal and phalanges as similar as analogous to the hand. Naming or numbering of metatarsal, Now we see hallux has only 2 phalanges. Thanks a lot